You asked for this. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Now, I don't actually know who, in fact, asked for this video, but I thought it was a very cool concept. Someone mentioned it. And I believe Tim from It's Terrific already did this. So I thought it would be fun to just join in and do the top 10 books I would grab if my house was burning down, which are the top 10 out of all these books, which I would want to save. It's a really hard list to come up with. I came up with 10. It's a really tough one to narrow down from all the books I have for a number of reasons. And I will say what I've ended up with on the top 10 have very little to do with the price, the value of the book. And you're going to scoff because there are literally 1, 2, 3, 4 Suntup titles in my top 10. But but there are very good solid reasons why this top 10 is what I would come back into a burning house for if I can get all these. That'd be amazing. But there are a number, like there's almost an infinite number of honorable mentions, and for the same reasons that these 10 made it on the list. A lot of sentimental value. I've gotten a lot of arcs from authors that I like a lot, and I've gotten a lot of gifts from viewers of the channel, and a number of books that have tremendous sentimental value to me that, had I lost, would absolutely break my heart. And of course, this goes without saying, but these books would never get saved if my dogs and my family weren't already secure. And there's a number of other possessions in the house that I think are important for sentimental reasons and utility and all those things. But when it comes to the books, these are the top 10 that I would singe all the hair off my body in order to save, but probably not much beyond that because things can be replaced. Skin is a little harder to replace. So let's get into this. I don't want to make this a 30-minute video, and I don't think you want a 30-minute video, but starting it off is this paperback of the movie tie-in of The Shining. This was my first Stephen King read, given to me by my mom after she bought it at the neighbor's garage sale for a quarter. I wrote in there Jeff Terry's property, misspelling property, having to add the R later. And this book is responsible for all the other books I own. This is the seed that started my horror garden, and it will always be in a prominent spot on my shelf. Number 9 is a wild one, and that is The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker, the 20th anniversary edition done by Earthling Publications. I bought this on the secondary, very rare occurrence for me, for a nice price, a big price. It was quite pricey, but probably not as pricey as it is now. I bought it a number of years ago, and for me to go on the secondary, it was quite the splurge. Anyway, I bought it. It is a signed, slipcased edition, signed by Clive Barker. It's a PC copy out of 250. Very low limitation. But I proceeded to get it signed at 2 separate conventions by all the Cenobites, all the people who played the 4 Cenobites. Now, Barbie Wilde didn't play the female Cenobite until Hellbound Heart, the sequel, but I got Doug Bradley, Nicholas Vince, and Simon Bamford who played the 3 Cenobites, the Chatterer, Butterball, and Pinhead, of course. And then I also got the actress who played Julia, Claire Higgins, and I got Ashley Lawrence, who played Kirsty. I met all these people. I had wonderful conversations with the Cenobites in their little Cenobite room at the convention. And that upped the value of this book tremendously. Getting those signatures and spending the time with those actors and being that close to Clive Barker was incredible. So this is quite the treasured item in my collection because of the journey it's been on with me. That's number 9. You could make the argument that number 8 is on this list because of its value alone, which wouldn't be entirely false. It's probably the only one on here that I would absolutely want to replace and could replace if I had the money. And that is Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy, the Suntup editions, numbered edition. And I love the binding. This is probably the most unique binding I own. It's a Coptic binding. It doesn't have a spine. It is spineless, and it has these bands, these butterfly stitching, and all the signatures. I don't know all the technicals of it, but this is one of my absolute favorite books in my collection. I can't get over it. If I go into the shelves just to handle a book, just to look at it again, just to sniff it, it's this edition, illustrated by Rob Wood. Stunning illustrations, printed letterpress, and a book I have got to read again. I've got to make this a priority. Every time I hold it, that's the only thought I could think. And I will say I'm probably going to actually read at least the first chapter because the page design is so exquisite. The letterpress is gorgeous. The art is stunning. And I need to experience reading this book, at least for a chapter. Then I'll probably go to a more traditional route of, I have a couple other editions of Blood Meridian that I would read. Of course, comes in this beautiful tray case. Just a stunning all-around edition by one of the best authors who ever lived. Number 7 was given to me by the publisher just for supporting his already awesome business. This is Earthling Publications, and this is the Josh Malerman Ghoul in the Cape Character Edition. I had the ARC. I bought 2 copies of the hardcover. This is one of my favorite Malerman books. It is a love letter to the United States, a manic road trip across the country in the search for the cure for apathy. That's how I sum it up. You have to read it. It's Josh Malerman's road trip novel. Absolutely adored it. I loved it from the moment I read the ARC. I promoted it on the channel. It is an amazing edition with David Palumbo art. It's a chunker of a book. And then when Paul Miller said he was doing the character edition, so there are, I believe, 13 copies of the character edition. It comes with this gorgeous slipcase, which wasn't part of the original release. And each of the 13 are dedicated to one of the characters in the book. And I couldn't afford it. There was no way I could swing it. And Paul Miller gifted me this one. And this one is the Secret Service edition. This book is property of the Secret Service, whose secret is out. And one of the things I love so much about this book is that, look at the designation. It's JT. So this is the Jeff Terry copy, designated copy of Ghoul in the Cape, a book I've had nothing to do with. And usually that designation is a contributor designation. So it'll have the author's name or the artist's name or whoever wrote the introduction. They'll get their initials in there. It's to have a JT edition designated in my name is just the absolute cherry on top. And I felt so blown away when I got this in the mail. I will carry this through the flames at number 7. Number 6 is also an Earthling edition, and it also has tremendous sentimental value for me, and that is Boys in the Valley. This is the Beach Boys edition, or at least that's how it came to be known after I took it to the beach and my son threw a wet towel on it at the end of the day, and forever wrinkling. That's why I have it in the protective envelope. The cover here is all damaged. It's a paperback. You put a wet towel on a paperback, it's going to get wrecked. But it became something of a joke on the Jeff Ward channel, the one you're watching, and in the Fracassi Freaks page. And so I had to send it off to get signed by Philip Fracassi. And his inscription in there was, "To Jeff and his bushy blonde hairdo." So this has gained a level of notoriety among the fans as a joke at my expense for ruining a book, but that's made it one of one. It is the Beach Boys edition. It also ignited my love of Philip Fricassi's writing and him as a person. He's a tremendous guy, great dude, brilliant writer. I now have like 4 shelves of Fricassi titles, and this is the one that started them all. I was blown away when I read Boys in the Valley, and devastated when I wrecked the Ark. But in wrecking the Ark, I so elevated it and entered it into the lore. Number 5 on my list is the absolute ultimate edition of the absolute perfect novel. And that is Suntup's edition of The Road. I was already a tremendous fan of Suntup when he announced Misery, Horns, Haunting of Hill House, and Rosemary's Baby. And I think those are the only titles that came before this. But then when he said his next book was going to be by a Pulitzer Prize-winning author and some other clues, I knew it was The Road. I had to get The Road. There was no choice. And so when that came up for sale, I grabbed it. There's actually a story about Rosemary's Baby. I went to buy that to secure rights for this when Paul Suntup let me know he already gifted me Rosemary's Baby. So that's another tremendous one. That's another one that should be on this list. Paul Suntup has been nothing but awesome to me. He published this book, and it's a pitch perfect book. The paper itself has bits of ash in it, so you feel like you are walking the road with the man and the boy. Number 4 on this list was a mind-blowing, just a total mind-blowing experience getting this. And I must say, there are videos of me unboxing almost all the books I'm showing you right now. At least 7 out of 10 of these titles have their own videos. So you can definitely see more. Just search my channel with the title of the book, and you'll see me go on and on about it. But number 4 is Red Dragon Lettered. This was gifted to me by Paul Suntup for supporting the channel, and it made me realize that I never really had any hope of owning a lettered edition. When I got this in the mail and I opened it up, and you could see that video, I think in that moment I realized how far away these editions are from me financially, physically, and I never had any hope of ever holding the Red Dragon lettered edition or any Suntup edition, lettered edition. And when I got it, I smelled it. There was nothing more powerful than this title. I know I worked the smelling into it, but this one does have a very, very unique scent to it. If I was blindfolded and I had to go around and smell my books, okay, and not touch them because you could obviously feel the scales. This is actual like alligator hide. It's a caiman, I think, not an actual. No, it's a breed of alligator, whatever, crocodile, water lizard. If I could just smell them, I would say that one definitely is Red Dragon. The printing is exquisite. It's very tactile. This is an amazing book, and I never ever would have even held one. So for Paul to reach down and hand me this book, it meant a lot. And you may be thinking right now, holy shit, Jeff, what could the top 3 be? What could possibly beat Red Dragon lettered? I mean, what? Well, if you've been with my channel for the last at least 4 years, then you know the answer to that, and that is the Butcher Boy lettered edition from Suntup, also gifted to me by Paul Suntup. But this one was a lot more powerful because Paul Suntup published this book on my recommendation. I begged him to do Butcher Boy, and at the time he was like mostly, almost exclusively doing horror titles. He hadn't really strayed into literature or other genres yet, so I didn't hold out a lot of hope. But he surprised me, and he did this book, and I got to interview Patrick McCabe. This is, this competes with The Road as my all-time favorite book, and for him to do it and then to gift me the lettered edition, bound in leather and with all the exquisite details that Paul puts into his books, was just amazing. This was the first book I unboxed in Tennessee because I really wanted to bless the new home with the absolute best inaugural unboxing I could imagine. A tremendous gift. Now you may seriously be like, okay, what can top a Suntup lettered that I was personally, if peripherally, associated with? Yeah, it's a tough one, and you're never going to figure it out. Coming in at number 2 is my signed copy of Bag of Bones. I actually have 2 of these. These have never been read. They were signed by Stephen King at an event in Chicago at the Harold Washington Library. It was the only time I've ever met the man himself, the man who I had been worshiping essentially since reading this book. And so that alone makes it a number 2. I got to meet my hero, but also my wife, producer Jill, set this up for me and got the tickets and surprised me with the tickets back in, 99? And it was one of the nicest things anybody had ever done for me. And she went with me, and we each got a signed copy. I still have the tickets to that event with the number on there. I also have the magazine that they handed out at the event. One of them still in the envelope. And every time I look at this book, I think of sitting in the audience next to Jill, feeling like the luckiest guy alive. So now we're at number 1. Either you're sitting there going, how can there be any escalation from all these books we've just walked through? The books gifted to him from publishers, the books worth thousands of dollars to replace, the one where he actually got to meet the man himself. And I asked Stephen King a question. I talk about it in another video. You're just going to have to swim through all those videos and find it because I don't remember which one. What could be better than all those books? But if you've been watching the channel, I think a number of you already know this is a pretty recent acquisition, all things considered, and it was tremendous. It is still tremendous. I'm not going to get choked up talking about it this time, but I did a huge, long video on it previously. You can really get into the story there. But I will just say, number 1 is my rebind of It from Bibliopathologist. This can't possibly be topped. If I only have 10 seconds to run back into the house to get any book, this is it. Pun intended. Everything about this title is everything to me. And I could leave you to that video so you can watch the details on it, so you can know the history of this book and how it sewed up a huge wound in my life better than the most practiced surgeon. And that is irreplaceable. And these 24 people are just some of the most amazing humans to me for helping make this possible. This is just an amazingly beautiful, unique rebind imagined at from Gerald Ward at Bibliopathologist and Jason Latier. And without those 2 guys and the other 22 on that card, this wouldn't be in my hands right now, and I wouldn't be so blown away. There are more amazing things coming from Hatteras Path, Jason Latier and Gerald Ward, Bibliopathologist, to stay tuned for, and I'm going to be sharing all of those things with you on this channel for the rest of the channel, for as long as there's a channel. This is it. This is number 1. I will probably, I don't know, is it above me right now that I put it out there? I will link to this video that I go into detail about what this book means, and I'll let that stand as the story. But for now, this video could not have reached a higher peak. I don't know if in that video it's shown or if this was at a later date, but they made it possible for me to also get a Stephen King signature to add to the book. I haven't had the balls to affix it to the page yet, But it will be. It has to be. I think I'm going to have producer Jill do it because she has a steadier hand. But that's it. Those are my top 10 books. I don't know if there are any surprises, any disappointments. Like I said, there could be a tremendous number of honorary mentions. Like my personalized Thomas Oldehuveld books, like my Philip Fracassi author arcs, like Suntup's Swan Song, which I got in a trade with Tim Bedwell from It's Terrific. All of these books, if they're on my shelves, they mean something to me, and I'm never going to get rid of them. Books don't leave my shelves, as a rule, especially the ones you could see. That's fine, because then my kids can get them all and sell them at a garage sale for $0.25 each. So until that garage sale, thank you for joining me this time. Hope to see you again next time. In the meantime, stay frosty.